as the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting an amber glow across the jagged edges of the coastal cliffs. Dr. Elara Voss stood before her makeshift lab, an old shipping container filled with instruments and screens buzzing with frantic data. The salty air mixed with the scent of rust, and the faint tang of fear hung heavy around her. The moon, once a distant guardian, now loomed ominously in the sky, creeping closer with each passing hour. She had spent years studying celestial mechanics, but nothing had prepared her for the reality of impending doom. The tidal waves were not just a prediction. They were a certainty, and she had only 24 hours to find a solution or watch civilization crumble. Elara's heart raced as she recalled the day it all began, when scientists first detected the moon's erratic orbit. They had dismissed it as a mere anomaly, but now it was a death sentence. With every tick of the clock, she felt the weight of humanity pressing down on her shoulders. She had to stabilize the moon's trajectory, a feat that required not just knowledge but a miracle. Her fingers danced across the controls, pulling up simulations of gravitational shifts and potential countermeasures. The first attempt was a calculated launch of ion thrusters aimed at the moon's surface, designed to create a counterforce against its gravitational pull. With a deep breath, she initiated the program, watching as the thrusters fired. For a fleeting moment, hope surged through her veins. Then, the screen blinked red, flashing warnings of system overload. The thrusters, insufficient for such a monumental task, sputtered and faded. The moon continued its relentless approach, shadows of doubt creeping into her mind. Determined, she sought out her old colleague Dr. Jarek Lynn, a man whose brilliance in astrophysics was only rivaled by his cynicism. When she found him nursing a drink at the local bar, the clink of ice in his glass echoed like the countdown in her head. He scoffed at her desperation, suggesting that they might need to consider a more drastic approach, nuclear intervention. The thought of unleashing such devastation was abhorrent, yet the ticking clock left her no choice. They worked side by side, their dynamic a volatile mix of Elara's fervent optimism and Jarek's cold realism. Together they mapped out a plan to redirect a stockpile of nuclear warheads, calculating trajectories as the moon shimmered wickedly in the night sky. The plan felt both audacious and terrifying, but with the waves already beginning to swell on the horizon, they had no time to waste. Just as they prepared for the launch, disaster struck. A power failure swept through the lab, plunging them into darkness. Panic surged within Elara as she fumbled for her flashlight, the beam cutting through the shadows to reveal Jarek's pale face, his eyes wide with fear. The backup generators kicked in, but the delay had cost them precious time. The tremors of the earth beneath their feet were a cruel reminder of what was at stake. With a renewed sense of urgency, they improvised, using the limited resources at hand. Jarek rigged an old satellite to transmit the launch code, while Elara recalibrated the warheads for a more precise strike. Their hands moved in a frantic ballet, fueled by adrenaline and desperation. They shared fleeting glances, an unspoken bond forged in the fires of crisis, a shared understanding that they were racing against fate. As the final countdown began, the ground shook violently, the ocean roared in protest, and Elara felt the world teetering on the brink of chaos. The warheads launched into the night sky, leaving a trail of fiery brilliance in their wake. Elara held her breath, praying that their gamble would pay off. Time felt suspended as the warheads arced toward the moon, the weight of their decision pressing down on her chest. Then came the explosion, a blinding flash that illuminated the darkened sky. The moon shuddered, a momentary hesitation in its descent. Elara's heart raced as she watched the trajectory shift, the gravitational pull altering just enough to create a new path. The tidal waves began to recede, their fury quelled, and the world held its breath in awe. As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of gold and pink, Elara stood on the cliffs, now quiet after the storm. The moon hung in the sky, a little further away, a remnant of the battle fought. Jarek joined her, his expression a blend of relief and disbelief. Together, They had defied the odds, their partnership a testament to the resilience of human spirit. The air was crisp and clean, and for the first time in 24 hours, they could breathe easy, knowing they had saved more than just themselves. The world carried on, and so would they.